It's coffee time. I am so sorry that I didn't make a video yesterday because yesterday was awesome until the evening. Like, the whole day was an anime marathon. Every now and then, I explain this every time, but some of you haven't been here long enough to know that we do this. So every now and then, like every few months, Happily Erin puts on a all-day pajama anime party, and we marathon one season of an anime. So the very first time we did Kuroko no Basket, the second time we did the Persona anime, and we all just hated it. And then this time we decided to do JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which most of us had never heard of, never seen. I had heard of it, but I didn't know anything about it. And then there was Alex, aka Octopimp, who is obsessed with JoJo's, like loves it so much. So he was the one who, whenever we got excited about something, it took every ounce of him not to spoil us on all the things that were going to happen regarding that character. Like, he was like, couldn't handle it, and a couple things slipped out, and we all got angry, and he was like, I'm sorry, I just, Get so excited about the lore and the characters and everything, and it wound up being so much fun. It is a ridiculous anime, you guys. It is so ridiculous, but the manga's been going on for like 25 years. Something totally insane. And it just progressively gets less and less rooted in reality. Super weird. But we managed to get it done at like 10 o'clock? Something like that. And we took our pose picture, which was great, of all of us doing JoJo poses. And that was awesome. But when the night turned awry was we got home and I was feeling real gross because I was all sweaty. And so I decided to take a shower. So I took a shower, and ever since that shower, I felt legit like I was gonna just vom. Like, felt so gross, so nasty. And I was trying to play Titanfall because Sam was playing Titanfall on the couch, and I was like, can I join? I've never played Titanfall before. And he was like, yeah, of course. So he set up the whole thing for me, told me which one to use, what would be easiest for me as a noob. I sat on the couch and I was playing Titanfall and having fun, but like at the same time feeling really sick and feeling sicker and sicker. And eventually it got to this weird point where I was just sitting there with the controller in my hand, not doing anything. And he was like, are you okay? Do you need to lie down? And I was like, I'm fine. You just play, and I'm gonna just like lean against you and watch, and then I'm sure I'll feel better. And next thing I knew was Sam waking me up and being like, let's get you into bed. He just like tucked me into bed and then went back out and played Titanfall, and I passed out. I fell asleep instantly and slept all the way through the night. But I remember when I woke up in the middle time, I was like, oh, but I didn't make coffee. And he was like, I don't care. You don't feel well. So I was like, okay. But the day overall, aside from the end when I started feeling really gross, the day in general was super fun. I want us to do more of those because every time we do them, it's a completely different group of people. There are some people that come every time. Like Ian Leaf comes every time. Erin's sister Robbie. Oh my gosh. Erin's brother Robbie. Robbie, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. Erin's brother Robbie comes every time. I come every time. David's there every time, but he normally watches only like half of the anime. Half the time he's playing video games, and then he'll come out every now and then and be like, what's going on? Oh, cool. It sounds really okay, bye. And then he leaves. But like, the first one had a bunch of people from work. It was like a really big group of people. The second one was a bit smaller, but had the crew of people that generally are well known for loving anime. And then this time was interesting because we had people like Chad and Kristen who not necessarily are lauded as huge anime people, but came and watched the whole thing, and we had a blast together. So fun. It was so, I don't know. It was just really nice. I liked it a lot. And then today, had a nice brunch with one of my friends. His parents came into town, and they decided that they wanted to take, so it's my friend Jared. Not Jared Frodo, different Jared. Game Boy RD Jared. His parents came into town and they were like, we want to meet all your friends. Invite them all to brunch. And he was like, okay. So a bunch of us went out to brunch with Jared's parents, who were lovely. They were the sweetest people in the world. And we just had this long, leisurely brunch where we just ate and talked about everything and drank so much coffee. It was awesome, though, because the guy brought a lot of places in LA do French press, which I'm fine with, because as long as I'm not putting together the French press, I'm pretty well assured that the coffee will be okay. It's only when I do French press that it tastes really weird and like swill. So when we ordered coffee and they were like, that'll be a French press, I was like, that's perfectly fine. But what I loved was that they gave us 2 different sizes of French presses. So he was like, the tall one is regular coffee and the short one is decaf. But people at the table kept forgetting which was which and being like, I don't, wait, what? Which I thought was hilarious. We also killed that coffee so quick because there were like 10 of us. Wait, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There were 8 of us. That's right, because 2 people weren't able to go. And man, we annihilated that coffee. I feel like I don't know why I'm so bad at French press. Like, that doesn't seem like it should be a thing, right? Do you know why I'm bad at French press, Watson? Yeah, you do? Oh, man, everybody knows but me. That's not fair. Now she's gone. She came for words of wisdom and then peaced out. But yeah, so we did the brunch and finally watched the newest Hannibal, which I have to say, considering that Hannibal is having so many problems right now, they need to make sure that the episodes that are coming out are like packed with interesting stuff. This was one of those kind of setup episodes where they're setting up for the amazing stuff that's going to happen later. But if I was watching this as my very first episode of Hannibal, obviously I wouldn't want that because I would have no idea what was going on. But if this last episode, if that was my very first episode of Hannibal, I probably would have been like, this show seems kind of boring. It's not, I promise. It's not boring at all. It's so great. We also watched the first 2 episodes of Bates Motel that we hadn't watched of the 2nd season. And that show continues to be real weird. Just like, all right. Okay. It's the show where, so during Hannibal, Jeannie and I have rapt attention. We're just like, okay, remember every detail because every detail is important. Remember everything. Absolutely everything. And then the second that Bates Motel was on, Jeannie was playing Candy Crush. I was like playing Danganronpa while we were watching it. It was just, neither of us felt like we needed to pay full attention. Which is silly for a show about murder. Like, it should, any show like that, you should feel like the details are so important. The devil's in the details, right? You don't feel that way watching Bates Motel at all. But with Hannibal, you do. You're just like, oh, I gotta pay attention to everything. Absolutely everything. So, I also got news up. I was very excited. I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm gonna do this. And I did it. But then I uploaded it. And it was set to private, but I didn't realize. I thought that I made it so that it would be public the second that it was uploaded. So I went off to brunch and then went off to watch TV and all that. And when I came home, I realized that the video had never gone public. I was like, come on. Oh, what are you going to do? Oh, a bunch of you were also asking what it was that Watson had been doing at the end of the last coffee time, the one that I did on my bed. She found a receipt on the floor, and right when I turned the camera around to face the door, she had like batted the receipt inside of the door, which is what made me laugh. But watching it back, it wasn't that obvious what had happened. And I was like, oh, that's too bad. Whoops. A lot of you guys really like when I do coffee time not here. But I like doing coffee time here. I like doing coffee time other places too, but I keep trying to figure out if there's a way to consistently like go back and forth. Like do do lots of different places, but always have this be home base, you know? But I feel like that's kind of what we've done anyway. Every time I travel, obviously coffee time happens in places that are not here. But you guys also enjoy seeing my home. Even though my home is so... Do you like this? Okay, so I pointed the light away from me because there was mad J.J. Abrams glare going on. And then when I turned it that way and came back over here to sit, it looks like there's nothing on the wall back there. Like, you can see that there's a frame here, but, like, you can't see this frame here. You can't see the huge paintings that are right there. It weirds me out. I was like, wait a minute, what? It's so strange. It's so strange. I don't understand. I feel like I need water. How convenient, you might say. I grabbed water. I grabbed water at the same time that I grabbed coffee. I was like, man, both of these sound good. Should have some water. Hey, what are you doing? Don't mess up Sam's Frozen posters. He's gonna be so mad at you. He's gonna be so mad at you. Sam might have Frozen posters. I didn't tell you that, though. It's just like right there and right there. He, on his Twitter, he got so many messages from you guys being like, you haven't seen Firefly? And he was like, what's Firefly again? And I was like, oh, it's that Space Cowboys show that I love. And he was like, oh, that's right. He goes, did you talk about it on the podcast or something? And I was like, no, I did mention it on Coffee Time that you've never seen it before. And he was like, oh, well, that's why. That's why I'm getting all diss. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. He needs to see Firefly. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand how great it is. Firefly is still seriously like one of my favorite shows, but I do pretend that the movie never happened. Don't spoil people in the comment section. Do not talk about the movie. I would be upset with you. What are you doing? Hey, I know. What are you doing? What? My cats. I think that she hasn't acted like she's been in heat all day, but apparently they can go through weird, like, waves. Like, if they don't get their booty touched, then sometimes they'll have a couple of days where it's like they're not in heat anymore, and then the heat can come back. So I'm waiting to see if the heat is gone or if it's just in a wave, because if it's in a wave, then I still can't get her fixed. But if it's gone, if, like, 4 days from now it's still not there, then I'm gonna take her little cat body in and be like, scoop out her stuff, and then she'll have her cone and it'll be sad, and Sherlock will be like, what's this? And I'll be like, no. Dickie is so cute. So Aaron's dog Dickie, his paw at some point was broken, so like the entirety of the time that they've had Dickie, they adopted him, and he's always had a paw that goes like this. So, like, here's his normal paw, and then his other paw is like this. And he couldn't walk on it very much. He couldn't run on it really at all. It hurt a lot. It was like a broken limb that had set completely wrong. So they took him to have surgery. And his little paw is so cute now. He, like, uses it like normal. I'm just like, but he still gets, like, tired using it because it's so recently had surgery that, like, he'll use it a bunch and then just, like, kind of hop around and not use it anymore. But they've made sure that like, it's not inflamed or anything. Like, there's no infection. They did have a problem with an infection earlier, but it's perfectly fine. It's just so cute. I'm just like, oh, Dickie, you have a paw that you can use. And he's just like, I know. But he had the big cone on his head for so long. He had the cone for a huge cast on his little arm. He was just like, So I'm imagining that future for Watson. Just a little cone on her head, little cast on her bits. She's just like, why? Why is this my life? I feel so bad, but it's gotta happen. It's gotta happen so that she doesn't sneak out and have babbies. No thank you. No more strays in Los Angeles, please. But anywho, I'm going to try my hand at Titanfall again because last night I was not paying very good attention. But I hope you guys had an amazing day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye. Mwah.